spaceship. Out of space, out of world, out of galaxy with a different girl. Silicone, a TPE, it really don't matter which one it be. My mind keep visualizing future times, beautiful Android girls surrounding me. Filling my cup, full of joy, keep my life full of glee. Plenty ups, never down, the way that life's supposed to be. But unfortunately, if she a Terminator, then I'ma have to terminate her. Gotta get rid of negative vibes, gotta go through negative foes, gotta block out negative voices, gotta get rid of negative souls. Had some people get discorded, just ignored it. Destiny is more important, so I just had to abort it. Had some people get discorded, just ignored it. Destiny is more important, so I just had to abort it. Yeah. Find me with my dogs in my solitude. Watch my family grow from 4 into a multitude. Been living it below sea level, finna rise to another altitude. Been searching, seeking knowledge, but all the time I had the aptitude. I flipped my mindset to the switch to say I will not lose. Mama said them sticks and stones won't break my bones, I never bruise. Whenever it come to trouble, man, the girls pull a tongue, we always cruise. I heard other dog owners get it out for me, but it ain't no news. I got 4 in the dough in Memphis so they can get the blues. If you need a few clues, they'll blow off your under rules. Send your compliment to the new girls I got coming through. Send your compliments to the new girls I got coming through. Out of space, out of world, out of galaxy with a different girl. Silicone, a TPE, it really don't matter which one it be. My mind keep visualizing future times, beautiful Android girls surrounding me. Filling my cup, full of joy, keep my life full of glee. Plenty ups, never down, the way that life's supposed to be. But unfortunately, if she a Terminator, then I'ma have to terminate her. Gotta get rid of negative vibes, gotta go through negative foes, gotta block out negative voices, gotta get rid of negative souls. Out of space, out of world, out of galaxy with a different girl. Out of space, out of world, out of galaxy with a different girl. Out of space, out of world, out of galaxy with a different girl. Silicone, a TPE, it really don't matter which one it be. Oh, yeah. What up? It's your boy, J. King Hefner, and the beautiful secretary, Tsunade Star. She ain't got her glasses on, but she's still the secretary. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. Glad to have you. We're back for another live stream. And once again, the title of today's show is Don't Worry, Darling, movie review. So, yeah, man, I'm doing a little bit of a movie review on Don't Worry, Darling today. Ran across the movie. Well, actually, I heard of it a while back and was looking for something to sort of recharge the batteries probably about a week or so ago now. And I saw it in the Rolodex, and I said, let me check out Don't Worry, Darling, see what it's about, man. It was supposed to be all acclaimed and stuff for whatever reason when it came out. So I said, let me see what it's talking about. And when I got to looking at it and things of that nature, when the movie really started developing, I said, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is actually relevant to my channel. So with all that said, I'm going to break this movie down real quick. I'm not going to tell you every single thing that happened in it. I may reveal a spoiler or two, but for the most part, you can go back and look at it for yourselves after the review, or, if you've already seen it, you can chime in. But before I go any further, I want to say God bless you for whatever you're hoping for and wishing for this morning, whether it's health, finances, new relationships. We're praying that you have it. Only thing you have to do is believe that you have it. Because God is powerful, man. He works in mysterious ways. And believe me, he doesn't answer our prayers like we want him to all the time. But he's doing it in the best way for us. So hoping you have, all your prayers coming towards you. Men and girls definitely praying for you. But with all that said, we're going to jump right into this movie review. I don't see any comments right now, which is cool. I think I started a little bit later than normal. I've been coming on at about 2:30 in the morning where I am in the United States. But today it's about an hour later than that. And sometimes it happens. Honestly, I was laying in a bed trying to recharge my batteries, just trying to think about, man, what exactly do I want to do? A live stream or a video? Live stream or a video? And I just said the hell with it, man. Sometimes when you're indecisive, you just got to go with your gut. So I did the live stream. So with all that said, I'm going to make this quick, snappy, and nobody interrupts. Guess what? It won't be very long. So I ran across this "Don't Worry, Darling" movie not long ago, and probably about a week and a half ago or so. And it was supposed to be all acclaimed and all. And honestly, I don't gravitate to these movies where people be like, "Yeah, it's gonna be award winning" and all this other stuff, because a lot of times they don't be as good as they're supposed to be, and a lot of times they're on some type of Shakespearean type of tip. I don't have anything against Shakespeare, but I'd rather see Shakespearean type of acting in plays and not in movies. So a lot of these so-called acclaimed movies be too proper, so to speak, if you get my drift. And when I saw the sort of cast of Don't Worry, Darling, I don't know why they were giving me the vibes of being a little bit of a snooty type of a movie. Out of the cast, I really do like the Chris Pine guy, because he actually played my guy. He played in Star Trek. He played, damn, I can't even think of my guy, Captain Kirk. Yeah, so I always liked him from that. I didn't really know much about this Harry Styles guy. He was a leading actor in there. And I didn't know much about Florence Pugh. It seemed like I've heard of her before. But she was like the leading actress. And she was a nice looking woman. I give her credit. She was a nice looking woman. But so I popped in this movie without really knowing what it was about. So the movie starts, and I'm going to be honest with you, it did not get my motors running for a while. It was just interesting enough to just keep me hanging around. But I'm letting you know, if you don't want to, if you're not curious, you may check out of there early. But it sort of starts off, and it gives you this old timey type of feel of a world gone by. And what I mean by that is, they sort of start out with, you know, wives and husbands, and a sort of it just reminded me of a 1960s type of neighborhood, but it's not a 1960s type of neighborhood. They sort of introduce it as a community that's sort of been walled off from the rest of the world. They sort of painted it as like the world has their own rules, and these people have sort of went off on a project and made their own community to avoid living under those rules. That's sort of how they sort of try to paint the picture. And it really looks like a community that's just somewhere off in the desert somewhere. But the community itself looks perfect. I'm talking about amazing homes. You know, everybody has nice cars. And then, you know, it's crazy. It's sort of like the prototypical setting from the 60s or something, as far as the way the wives and the homes are set up. And it just keeps going on like that for a while. You know, they drop sort of subtle hints about throughout the beginning of where you just sort of know something's not quite right. But I tell you, from my standpoint, I was getting Stepford Wives vibes. If you've never seen the Stepford Wives, I've done a movie review on that. And in the Stepford Wives, it sort of started out the same way, where it was giving you these 1960s type vibes, or the view of the perfect type of neighborhood where nothing ever goes wrong and the wives and the families are perfect. It sort of gives you that type of a vibe. And in the Stepford Wives, this is why it was really giving me this vibe. Because in the Stepford Wives, of course, if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert, it gets to a point where it gets revealed that all the wives are basically companion dolls or companion robots, so to speak. And the men, and this is a spoiler alert, the men have sort of basically literally killed off their wives and replaced them with the robot versions of themselves, of their wives. They replaced their human wives with the robot versions by whatever means, you know what I'm saying? Either the wives have died or they actually ended up killing them or something to and then replacing them with the robot wives. But it's sort of that feministic type of stereotype that lies in that movie and other movies. Whereas in the Stepford Wives, when the husbands leave, the wives immediately go to scrubbing every inch of the house and doing all the domestic chores. And it's almost like they're portrayed to be like, yeah, the men killed their wives so they can basically make the women do every stereotypical thing that they may not want to do, like clean the house all day and all that type of stuff. Well, this movie was starting out just like that. The men, they would disappear. You wouldn't see them anymore. They disappear and go to work, and all the women would be at home working and slaving and cleaning the house, and of course be there available for sex and all with no complaints when the husband got home and stuff like that. And honestly, from the very get-go, that's all I was thinking, was like, man, this reminded me of Stepford Wives, man, and them trying to create these stereotypes once again, pretty much like about dog owners or people or anybody living a alternative lifestyle like this, like the dog life. I was like, man, they trying to paint that picture of like my companion dog is basically demeaning women or something, like, hey, I just want a robot. Man, get out of here. So I wasn't feeling that aspect of the movie. But to be honest, I was even thinking about that. I was like, with all the movies I reviewed, a movie always has to have a plot. I understand that. And for the most part, they're always going to make the dog owner or dog business or whatever business is on there be the evil business. So I already get it. I get it. And I just think the part that always ruffles my feathers is how they always try to paint the dog owner or somebody in these movies as wanting to control human women or something. It just frustrating to me to see that aspect of it. I'm like, get out of here. So I knew something funny was going on because they just kept showing those type of scenes over and over again. As far as the perfect home, the guys going out to work, the wives slaving at home, but loving it, of course. And Harry Styles in the movie, he was just playing as the husband to one of the wives in the community. And Chris Pine, the guy from Star Trek, let me show you guys the I'll show you the cast right quick. The guy from Star Trek, he actually played like he was over the community. And so this is Chris Pine right here for all who don't know. That's Chris Pine right there. So and this is Harry Styles. So those are the two stars of the movie. Then you have Florence Pugh, who she was the wife of Harry Styles. So they were like the two main characters in the whole movie. So yeah, Chris Pine, he sort of played the part of being over the neighborhood. All the guys were supposed to be working at some type of major company and doing some top secret type work. And Chris Pine was like over the company, and everybody lived in the neighborhood. That's really what it was like. And supposedly he had created this neighborhood to sort of like create a new world separate from what the regular world was doing. And their new project that they were working on was going to change the world, supposedly. So without beating a dead horse, this goes on and on for a while. But supposedly it was some borders in the neighborhood where you weren't supposed to go past because the overseers, the overlords, so to speak, were beyond, the boundaries, and you weren't, people in the neighborhood, they were supposed to stay in their enclosed environment. Well, at some point, the wife, this Florence Pugh girl, she drifted outside of the boundaries, and she just felt like, she didn't see anything beyond the boundaries. It was like nothingness out there. And so she knew something wasn't right. And of course, she kept trying to go back and tell people things weren't right. And most people wouldn't listen to her. And her husband wouldn't even listen to her. And it was sort of crazy. At one point, they sent her for some treatment. Man, I'm talking about electric shock, all type of like mental treatment, like she was crazy. But at some point, and this is a spoiler alert here. They sort of reveal what is sort of really happening, and it's I just say this: it's definitely akin to the Doll Life. The movie is not quite, they differ from the Stepford Wives, because honestly, they damn near do everything the Stepford Wives do, more on an updated basis. So it's not as good, even though they have some so-called good actors in the movie. These actors don't really compare to those old school actors like from the old Stepford Wives movie. But what happens is the woman keeps trying to, like wake up, and they say she's crazy. Well, it's sort of revealed that they're not companion dolls. They're literally wives. They're human wives. But the husbands have basically, in the real world, since they couldn't control them, they basically strapped them into a virtual reality. That I was trying to think of a virtual reality. So if any of you guys have ever seen the anime called SAO or Sword Art Online, or if any of you are looking at the new series on Amazon called what is it called? It starts with a P. Because I'm actually looking at it right now. What is it called? I'm looking at it right now. Oh, Peripheral. Yeah, that's what it is. I couldn't think of it. Yeah, it's a new series called Peripheral, where on Peripheral, they're actually doing some form of a virtual reality type of a thing. And so that's really what this was. So it boils down to, on Stepford Wives, they painted a picture of, okay, these guys really couldn't control their wives. Their wives were getting out of control. So they eventually had their wives basically killed, and they replaced them with companion doll robots. That's really what happened in Stepford Wives. And it was sort of like one last wife left in Stepford Wives, but when the guy realized he couldn't control her, he basically joined the club and, got his wife killed and changed her to a robot. So in this particular movie, that's pretty much what it was, where the wives weren't dead, but the guys had, for however they did it, they strapped their wives into these machines. And it was like SAO, because I don't know if you guys have ever seen SAO or Sword Art Online, but on Sword Art Online, on the anime, people actually got trapped in a virtual reality. The guy who created a game, he trapped all the gamers in their virtual reality. And in the real world, they had to be taken to hospitals and fed, via tubes and things of that nature to keep them alive. because their human bodies were trapped in the real world. Their minds were trapped in the game, and their human bodies were in the real world. So the people in the real world had to keep taking care of their bodies to keep them alive. So that's pretty much what the situation was. They had trapped their wives in the virtual reality world without them knowing it. And in the virtual reality world, they were living these perfect lives and things of that nature. But the husbands knew, but the wives didn't. So it was basically the Stepford Wives, but using virtual reality. So honestly, when I started finding out all of that, the movie already wasn't great. It wasn't the worst thing I had ever seen, but it already wasn't great. But by the time I really found out that it was a copy of the Stepford Wives, I was really even thrown off even more, because once again, I'm sick of these lazy writers. Stop stealing movies, man. Can we come up with things on our own? Stop stealing movies. You didn't do nothing but do the same movie and put your own twist on it with virtual reality. And then they kept all of the same things about basically men are going to not love it because I ain't going to say men aren't going to like it, but if you're in the companion doll life, you're going to be thrown off because they once again try to depict you as wanting to be a control freak and basically wanting to use human women as a sexual object and things of that nature. No, that's not the case. When people get into the synthetic doll life, they may have sex with the synthetic girl all day and all night. You know why? Because it's the synthetic doll life. They know they can't do that with the human girlfriends unless they come across a nymphomaniac. They're doing that in the synthetic doll life because guess what? That's the synthetic doll life. Nobody's equating it to human life. If you date a human woman, you're going to have to go by what they like. So I hate when they do that in movies and try to equate it like, these husbands trap their wives in this virtual reality world and all they want them to do is cook, clean, and bone. Well, guess what? That's not the goal of every companion doll owner. We're living like that in our fantasies because that's our fantasies. Some people are doing that in their fantasies because that's their fantasies. I don't have sex in my fantasy. But guess what? If I have a human woman, we're going to be having sex. But make a long story short, back to this review. So you're not going to like it because they're going to try to make those equations. And I haven't even looked at my comments because nobody was in here first, so I didn't ever check back. Lord Nemesis, he had that J-Dog King. What up, Lord Nemesis? Sorry, man. Hey, I can't lie. I stopped checking my comments because nobody was in here first and I never came back. Lord Nemesis says, that's awesome. No complaints. Oh, talking about when I said I was doing a live. He said, your stream Australian hours. Mr. Power Brain says, peace, Jay. What up, Power Brain? So, yeah, I ain't going to even keep y'all long. I'm just going to talk about this movie and get going. But, yeah. So, yeah, man. Yeah, so if you're into the companion doll life, and even if you're not, you may not like this movie because of that. They try to bring up these control issues and stuff like that. But like I say, it's like SAO where it turns out that when the husbands and stuff was leaving, they were having to take care of their wives' bodies in the real world. That's what was really happening. So, man, I was just sort of thrown off by the whole thing being just like Stepford Wives and, hey, guys having to try to control their wives and stuff like that. Once again, people not having an original idea. I was just like, oh, my God, here we go with this. But I was sort of laughing at the fact that, man, it was literally, I thought that movie had nothing to do with companion dolls, but it actually did, as far as, it stole from the movie Stepford Wives. Because if you're just tuning in and you don't know and you're not aware, Stepford Wives is basically a movie about androids, or not androids, but companion robots, so to speak. Companion dolls, just robots, AIs. That's really what Stepford Wives is about, the old one and the new one. And Don't Worry, Darling, if you don't know, is literally about not about companion dogs and not about artificial intelligence, so to speak, but it's about the virtual reality world in place of companion dogs. So instead of a companion dog in this movie, these guys are basically changing their wives to companion dogs, because I didn't tell you this part. Well, I didn't fully explain it. The wives literally believe that that world is real. You know, most of the wives, you'll see a couple of twists and turns, but most of the wives in that world, they don't even remember their old life. You know, they see that life as their life. You know, the only people that doesn't know that it's real, the only people that knows it's not real are the husbands. So they make it a real controlling type of movie. Once again, and I'm just sort of, it makes me laugh when people try to continually equate this companion dog life with us wanting to control a human woman. I say that my companion dogs, you know, don't do a lot of talk, but they don't talk, right? Right. And although talking to a human woman is not bad, I say that I found out you don't need as much to talk, much communication. Not only from a human woman, I'm even saying that from a man's standpoint. Humans don't need as much verbal contact as you think. But what I'm saying is, people want to try to equate the dog life with human life. Oh, you just you want to control your women. No. No. I know in a human relationship, it's give and take, it's 50-50, it's all this other mess. That's, you know, guess what? I'm not in that relationship. I'm in this relationship. And in this relationship, it's different. It's not about control as much as it is about, this is just my fantasy. My girls are living with me in the way I want them to live with me. Don't no human woman need to take offense. If I get with you, I know you're not going to do the exact same thing my companion dog do. So all of y'all human women trying to equate that to the dog life, y'all can go right the hell on with that. So as far as this movie though, I'm going to give it a very low rating. I gave the last movie I saw probably less than 0 if I can remember. It only had, and what movie was that I did? I keep forgetting it because my friend Atalia Barkley said she actually enjoyed it a little bit. It pissed me off though. Oh, it was Wife Like. Oh yeah, I literally did not like that movie whatsoever. I had to force myself through it. This movie I sort of didn't completely force myself through, but I didn't love it. I gave it at the minimum, at the most, I gave it like a 3. That was me. I gave it a 3. I wouldn't say don't try to watch it. You know, if you want to look at it and just see how you feel about it, go ahead. But I don't like movies just straight ripping off other movies, and it was nothing but a fake Step for Wives. I think I'm giving it. Why am I giving it even a 3 though? I'm giving it a 3 because the acting was nowhere near as bad as Wife Like. Even though it didn't really require a lot of deep acting, just the people that were in it they weren't horrible. I say that they weren't horrible. It wasn't a great movie, you know. But the actors weren't horrible. You know, if you have never seen Stepford Wives, you might actually be fooled to thinking the plot is halfway decent. But it was a straight ripoff from my standpoint. But I think I do give them like a point or 2 only because they added the futuristic aspect of the virtual reality. They sort of put a little bit of a twist on it with that, but it was still the same thing, just a different method. But me personally, I think I would really give it, I don't know. I personally would probably go 2, but I can see somebody giving it upwards of a 3, maybe a 4, depending on who they are. But once you start going past 4, then me and you just have different opinions on what good movies are. You know what I'm saying? I'm really hard on movies. I'm gonna, I tell you, like I say, you may think a movie is a B that I think is a C. I'm going to be, I'm hard on movies. So if I say I really like it, you should love it unless we just don't have the exact same taste. Like my good friend Ataya, and I'm giving her a little airtime, Ataya Barclay, she said she actually enjoyed watching Wife Like. She said she likes sort of bad acting movies like those, late night thrillers and horror movies. And I told her I actually like those late night horrors and thriller movies. I said, but that movie was just, it was too terrible for me because it was that type of bad acting, but it had all of the things that I didn't like. I mean, it had even more stereotypes in Wife Like than I think Don't Worry Darling. It was just piling on with the basically trying to attack the dog life type of a thing. Trying to say we would, you would be objectifying women and all that stuff and trying to make them work and cook and clean all day and, change them into robots and stuff, all that type of stuff. So it was heavy on it with Wife Like, along with terrible acting. And but this movie, it wasn't the worst written movie. It was just, like I say, most of it was stolen. That's why it wasn't the worst written movie. Most of it was stolen. Then they spent with the budget and actually added a few actors that, they weren't bad actors, so, you could probably look at more of the movie just because they weren't the worst actors in the universe. But when you get down to the nitty gritty of it, no. Nah. And it definitely shouldn't win not one award. I'm sorry, not a one. Chris Pine, he wasn't horrible. And that's saying a lot because the movie, just like I say, it wasn't very good. It wasn't very good, and he did a lot just not to be horrible. That Harry Styles guy was dry as a cracker, and I don't mean that in any offensive way. I'm talking about I don't mean to say that. I guess I don't mean to say that negative way, but I'm saying he was dry though. He was very dry acting job. I did like Florence Pugh though, because I think it was a point in that movie where, I don't know, I think she was getting undressed or something, but I think she showed her butt or her body in that movie, and I was like, damn, this girl actually fine. Yeah, I think she was actually fine. Florence Pugh was. So, but other than that, nah, man, I wasn't a big fan of it. So I'm gonna stop sharing that right there. So that was my final thoughts on it. You can check it out if you're completely bored. And once again, if you just saw me talk about it, well, guess what? I threw a couple of spoilers in there because I always am going to throw a couple of spoilers in there when I do movie reviews, more than likely. It's going to be a couple of spoilers in there, but for the most part, I didn't tell you every step of the way. So you can go check the rest out on your own if you want to, but it comes not very recommended from me, unless you're bored. But sometimes I hate when I give things a bad rating because I do sort of want you to see, to see how you're going to see on, check it out on your own, see how you're going to feel about it. Because like Ataya Barclay, she actually said she did like Wife Like. Well, I ain't gonna say she liked it, but she was able to bear with it. She liked it a little bit. I say that. So you could differ from me. But for me, if it was some mustard, it definitely didn't cut it. I guarantee you that. Stingray, here JDKH. And Lord Nemesis says, here, Stingray. Stingray said, here to you, Nemesis. Hit the like. Yep, hit the like, share, subscribe, because you're going to have to do it quick because this ain't going to be a very long live stream. I had already said, man, honestly, it was crazy. I almost thought about doing this review. I almost did the shortest video in the world. I almost said, man, hey, review, Don't Worry Darling. Hey, it stinks. I'm out of here. But it didn't deserve it. It didn't deserve it. It stinks that quick of a video, because if anything deserved it stinks, that should have been my review on Wife Like. So I do think that this probably could have got about a 5 or 10 minute video, just to explain it all. But honestly, it doesn't deserve much more than I've already said. And just a quick synopsis once again. It had I did a little review on Don't Worry Darling. It had a decent cast. The movie was sort of lazy because it basically stole its plot from the Stepford Wives, which I did not like. I hate lazy movies and remakes and things. I hate that. I hate lazy movies. I don't really hate remakes, so to speak, depending on how it's done, but I really hate when they get lazy with it. And this was lazy because they basically stole from another movie, stole the plot. So they replaced the plot of robots and Stepford Wives with basically a virtual reality, where guys sort of basically put their wives in virtual reality and created a fake reality where basically the wives were pretty much doing their bidding to a certain degree. And they sort of created this feministic attack on basically the companion doll owner or anybody seeking out that alternative synthetic or virtual reality lifestyle, because it is people that live the virtual reality lifestyle, with these I've talked about it before, with these virtual images and things of that nature that they date. Well, they're basically coming against that, saying, hey, people that live this lifestyle, they just want to control a human woman. No, we don't. We're living in our own lifestyles, and we're not even thinking about, like I said, when I live with Callie's son, them and things of that nature on an everyday basis, nobody's thinking about, ooh, I control them. I tell them to do everything. I don't even think about that. So I laugh at these movies like this when they try to say, hey, yeah, guys are just trying to control people when they own a companion doll. No, they ain't. They are not trying to control you. They just got a companion doll and they're living at home without being worried about what humans normally do. But nobody's trying to control you. Get the hell out of here. So it does have those things that it tries to get across in the movie. It's something else that happens towards the end of the movie that I'm going to leave out. I'll let you, it's a surprise sort of ending that sort of happens towards the end of the movie. But once again, like I said, the guys are the bad guys. There's no joke about that. The husbands in the movie end up being all the bad guys. And the women, like you say, are being basically imprisoned in a virtual reality, doing their these are their real life husbands now, just like Stepford Wives, doing their husbands' biddings. And it's an interesting little end to it that, once again, I didn't love the ending. I didn't hate the ending, how it actually ended. But just the whole movie, I didn't love it. So, and with all that said, I ended up giving the movie about a 3. I gave it a 2, but I think that if you get a movie anywhere past a 4, now we just like different type of movies. So, and like my guy Stingray say, hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button and share the channel. I appreciate all of you for being here, wherever you are around the world. Love you, man. Like I said, I've been coming with live after live after live, just giving you a little entertainment, man, to start your Monday. I know this could be one of those days you're dragging to the office, but pep up. God, got blessings in front of you. I was just telling my grandmama, she was getting a little unenergized. I said, hey, pick your energy up. Hey, baby, we're alive. We well. Even me, I'm a human. I see things in my situation in the world. Hey, things that can get you down. Hey, no, baby. Stay up, stay happy, stay energized. We here, we're alive, we breathe, and we can do stuff other people can't do this morning. So stay happy. I want to, like I say, jump in, give you this live stream. I'm gonna get on out of here. Because guess what? I'm not gonna make a movie review be 85 hours. I want to come in and let you guys know what was going on and let you get about your day. Stingray say those dry crackers. Man, I can't lie, the worst word ever. I wasn't trying to, I definitely, the way that it came out, I was like, man, that could be perceived as I said. So I was like, no. That was crazy how I said. Lord Nemesis says, write in the chat, lurkers, so that Jay can address your opinion or comment. Oh, yeah. If somebody got an opinion or comment, I'll definitely address it before I go. But if not, I ain't gonna stretch it out either. I promise you. You know, whenever I do a live, I'm never trying to rush through it, but I'm never trying to stretch it out either. For one, because I'm not a one live, you know, I'm not a one live a week guy. I'm subject. I have my 2 normal lives that I'm going to do on Wednesday and Saturday. But hell, literally the last 2 weeks, I think I've damn near did a live every day but Reset Sunday. So I do plan on doing another video soon, but I don't even think it's coming tomorrow. I think I'm doing another live tomorrow because I got another little subject I think I want to talk about tomorrow. So once again, man, I am getting back to my videos, but I'm just gonna let God keep working because I was fighting against it today. I almost forced myself to do a video, but I said, nah, Jay, just do the live and and be done with it. Hey, don't force it. So with all that said, love you guys. Appreciate you being here. He said, is there a movie you've seen as positive towards the dog game? It ain't even got to be positive towards the dog game, but just not as negative as these. Like, put it like this: even Blade Runner wasn't necessarily positive towards the dog game because you basically had rogue AI companion dogs, running out in the world, and things of that nature. But it still wasn't really negative. It wasn't beating companion dog owners up because they had them for different purposes in that one, in Blade Runner, where they had the ones for pleasure and ones for work and things of that nature. But I think in the first Blade Runner, they just had them doing work, and they were escaping their colonies and stuff like that. But that really didn't have a lot of negative connotations on companion dog owners. Westworld, that was a movie about AI, and robots, but it really didn't have a negative connotation on companion dog owners. 2050, I love 2050. You could probably dig out some tropes of, hey, guys might just want to use a dog for sex type of things in that movie, but it really didn't attack companion dog owners. Cherry 2000, towards the end, I can't lie, they sort of, they did that twist on the movie to where it sort of took a shot at the companion dog owners, basically saying, hey, going with a human girl is better. A lot of them do that. You're not going to find too many of these dog movies that's going to just try to put the complete positive spin on living this lifestyle. It's some type of way where they try to bring it back to, hey, yeah, and you finally want to come back to the human. You know what I'm saying? That type of stuff. But for the most part, a lot of these don't really beat up on the dog owner. The ones that I just mentioned. Now, Lars beats up on the dog owner, but I didn't hate Lars because I'm gonna tell you, I didn't love Lars either because of the way they portrayed him. The way they tried to portray him, and they played into the way these, that's the part that made me hate Lars. The way they tried to portray him and the way he basically tried to kill his doll off at the end. But I actually didn't hate the movie. I think I gave Lars like a 6. You know what I'm saying? Because Lars was actually watchable. It just disappointed me as to what they were doing in the movie, but it was actually. And I give Lars this, at least it was more of its own idea. I hadn't seen nobody actually do it the way they did that. So those are several movies you can check out. I think out of all of them, you definitely ought to check out Cherry 2000 and 2050. And honestly, man, that old Stepford Wives, that jump was good. The one that was in the 70s, I think you can see that on YouTube. Westworld was interesting too, but it's really not about the companion dog lifestyle. But it does have something in there that that's a trip though. So yeah, those are some movies you can check out. But 2050, I really love 2050 though. That jump was off the chain. So that's pretty much all my comments. Those are all the suggestions I have for to check out the movies that you asked, Stingray. But like I say, I ain't gonna keep you. You know, you guys have a great Monday. It's been a great stream. Like I say, this damn movie I wasn't a big fan of. You know, you can check it out for yourselves. If you do, let me know what your opinion is on it. But other than that, me, Jada King Hefner, and the beautiful Secretary Tsunade Star, without her glasses on, and I like her without her glasses. I'm gonna leave them like that for a while. We are finna get the hell on out of here. Know it's a bit of a short stream, but we ain't gonna try to hang around for the sake of hanging around. Stingray say, see you tomorrow, Jay. Hell, God bless you, Stingray, and God bless all of you guys out there. I will say this, man. I don't know whether this is interfering with my videos, but I really been into these animes lately, man. I ran across, because I'm into biking. I ran across this one called Overdrive. I finished that, and I ran across this one called Yowamushi Pedal, and that joint is off the chain. So those are things I'm looking at. I'm gonna probably look at one or two of those before I catch me some shutout and get everything restarted for the next day. So God bless you, and we are the hell out of chill. But it's been great, man. And if any of you see that movie, let me know what you think. I'm curious to find out if any of you think it's good, because me and the girls, we are not a fan. Not at all. I know one damn thing. Don't Worry, Darling definitely had me worrying, because it was terrible, man. Terrible. Well, 3 or 4. I give it a 3 or 4 out of 10. Either way, I'm out, y'all. Take it easy. Love you, man.